Hi, I'm Art.
And I am Tony.
With a Y.
And we are from
Garden Masters with a Z.
.com. And we have a plant behind us that's having problems.
And why is our palm plant turning brown?
Well, that's what we're going to show you in this video. And you'll get a better idea of how to diagnose plant problems as we go through what Art's going to do with this plant behind us. So stay tuned.
So quite often you'll bring your outdoor plants in for the winter, and then it comes along 2, 3, 4 months later and you're starting to find some browning in the plant. And
some of the fronds are turning brown, but others are still green.
So anyways, looking at it, it's not all brown, but you kind of have to go back over time and say, okay, I have other plants that are doing well. Why is this one in particular turning brown?
A lot of times you have to play private eye.
So anyways, when we bought this plant, it was in another plant or pot, and we transplanted it into this pot, which is included with this basket. So as you can see, this soil is loose and it's got a lot of peat moss in it, and it dries out pretty fast. So normally indoor plants, I would water once a week. But this one, since it's so loose, it tends to dry out a little bit more. So the main thing to do is to put your finger in the soil and go down an inch or two or as far as you can and feel that. I mean, it won't stick to your finger, but feel it and see if it's moist down below. Sometimes you might be watering it and, it's watering the top of the soil, but it isn't soaking down. Now keep in mind, indoor plants, you do not want to soak it so it's sitting in water. You do want it to dry out.
Now, one thing you did say about this plant, Art, was it fell over when it was outside, right?
Yes, I was just going to get to that. And this plant is pretty light. And it was on the back deck, and it was, it had blown over several times. So knowing that, being a detective, going back, these roots were disturbed several times this summer. So it's a little bit handicapped at this point. So any other little thing that's going on, like watering, it's in an area, it's getting a little less light, and so forth. So at this point, I think the water is the main problem here.
There was also one time when I think we maybe let it go a little too long.
Oh, yes.
There was that one time.
Yes, and sometimes you go on vacation over the holidays, and it's like, I'm going to water it, and here you go. 7 days have gone by. It didn't get water while you were gone. So like I said, this plant probably needs more than once a week watering. So it did decline during that time.
But it's not gone, correct, Art?
That is correct.
Now, how do you know that it's not dying and will eventually die?
Well, you can see new growth is coming up here. And
that is
very
new
healthy
growth. That is going to turn into one of those big palm fronds in a little bit.
Yeah. So, in the meantime, to help your plant along, you got to give it a little TLC. So, we're going to go ahead and prune off all these dead fronds and make it look better.
And our pruning usually spurs on new growth, and that's what's going to happen here. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yep.
See, this one is 90% gone. No, it's totally gone. So this one, just I want a little bit more green, so I'm going to clip it from the dead part up. And same thing with this one. You know, as we get more growth coming out, we'll go ahead and clip these whole branches off. So now you don't have much of a plant left, and there is little brown edges here. You know, I'm going to leave those till this bushes out. But we're going to keep a close eye on this plant because it needs more water. Another thing to keep in mind, when you bring plants in from the outdoors, take all this little debris because insects will harbor in that debris and eventually get on your plant. So
This plant also has an asparagus fern growing in the pot with it as well. And it's still surviving inside. And usually asparagus fern does, doesn't it, Art?
well, it will. And if it gets enough light, and you can see this one has a little bit of yellowness on it. But the fact that that is still living is telling me this is going to live as well. So
Yay! I'm happy.
it's going to be a happy soldier, Tony.
I like my palms. I like my tropical atmosphere outside.
So we're going to give it a lot of TLC. So hopefully we can get some new growth on it, you know, before spring comes. And another thing to keep in mind is a plant can look this crappy when you put it outside with the proper conditions outside. This thing is just going to flourish once again.
Yep, it certainly will. Don't forget to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button and then the bell notification to get notified when we put out new videos.